Hello friends and welcome to YouTube channel Freedom Tech. And in this session what we are going to learn? In this session we are going to detect person with the help of YOLO5. Then we are going to assign the ID for each person and then we are going to count person's frequency on Windows 11. But before we move to our practical friends, if you learned something from our videos, please consider to subscribe our channel. Okay friends, thank you so much and let's get started. So friends, as I mentioned, we are going to first detect the person with the help of YOLO5, then we are going to assign the ID, then we are going to count person's frequency. For that, first we need here Tony Python ID. So Tony, just search and then Tony Python ID for beginners, tony.org. Just click on here, go to the window, then this is what their setup.exe file. Just click on it. It will download our setup.exe file. As you can see, I have already downloaded setup.exe. Also, I have already installed Tony Python ID on our Windows 11 machine. As we always install any normal software on our Windows machine, same process. Just click on next, 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 and it will install Tony Python ID. Then we are going to simply open our Tony Python ID from here, and this is what our Tony. Okay, so now we need here OpenCV and YOLO5. So go to the tools, manage packages, then search for OpenCV-Python and just hit enter. It will search for OpenCV-Python package. So first one package, so install version 4.6.0. This is the latest version which I have already installed. You need to simply click on install button. It will install OpenCV Python on our Windows 11 machine with the help of Tony. Then we need here YOLO5, so just search for YOLO5, click on search on PyPy. It will search for YOLO5. So just click on here YOLO5, and YOLO5, as you can see, this is what our YOLO5 and their dependencies. So YOLO5 is also I have already installed. You need to click on install button and it will automatically install YOLO5 on our Windows 11 machine. Simple. So now what we want to do, we are going to download our repository. So this is what our repository, YOLO5 people counter Win11. I will mention the link inside the description box. Just open the link inside the browser, then go to the code and click on download zip. It will download our repository in zip file format. So go here, click on show in folder, right click and then click on extract all. Then click on extract. It will extract our folder like this way. This is the folder, and inside that we have text file, main.python file and tracker.py file. So right click for a text file, open with notepad. Inside that I have shared the video link, okay, which we are going to use for today's session. So copy the link, paste inside the browser and just download the zip file. Okay, so this is the link. As you can see, this is the zip file link. Just click on download and it will download the zip file. Okay, so friends, we have successfully downloaded our zip file, our video zip file. So just go here, click on show in folder, right click, and we are going to extract our file. So click on extract all, click on extract. So this is what our video file. Now we want to move our video file inside our repository. So right click, cut, then downloads, and then we have our folder. So this is what our folder, YOLO5 people counter Win11 main. Okay, this is what our repository, and inside that we have again our folder, and inside that we have our all the files. Okay, so here simply we are going to paste our video file. As you can see, I have successfully cut paste our video file. That's it. Now what we want to do, we are going to simply open our main and tracker.py with the help of Tony Python ID. So just close all windows. Okay, and this is what our Tony Python ID. Go to the file, click on open, and then we are going to go inside our downloads. Then YOLO5 people counter Win11 main. Again we have folder, and then we have here main file. Okay, so this is what our main file, and we have here our tracker file. Okay, so this is what our tracker file, which basically assign the ID for particular object. Okay, so here we are going to track a person. So we are going to say like it's assign the ID for person. Simple. So in this file we are not going to change anything. We are going to simply call this tracker file inside our main.py, which I have already called. Okay, so I am going to simply close the tracker.py. So inside this main.py, this is what our main file. Inside the main.py, as you can see, I have import cv2, import torch, then from tracker import all the things. Tracker is basically our file, so tracker.py is the file name, so we need to call our tracker file inside our main.py. So from tracker import all the things, then import numpy as np, then model is equal to torque hub.load. This is how we are going to upload, or we are going to load our YOLO5 by default module with the help of torque hub.load. Okay, this is the basic thing for YOLO5. Then cap is equal to cv2.video capture, and this is what our file name, cctv.mp4. if I open our download folder, okay, then inside that, as you can see, cctv. So I have mentioned cctv.mp4. this is what our video file. Then friends, we are going to create here a polygon on our frame. For that we need a points. So for that I have create here mouse function, mouse event function, which basically give us the point of cursor. When we move our cursor on frame, this function, this points function, will basically print all the xy coordinates of our frame, or we can say of our mouse. Okay, so this is the function. For that I have created a function. Okay, then cv2 name window for calling the function, the points function, and as you can see I have called here a points function. Simple. Then tracker is equal to tracker. Tracker is basically our module, so tracker is basically our tracker. Simple. Now while true loop, then as we always do, we need to call our cap, means we need to call our video. So rate frame is equal to cap.read, then we are going to resize our frame, then cv2.imshow method, then wet key method, and then cap.release and cv2.destroy all windows. So this is what our basic script, okay, which basically run our mp4 file, okay, our video file. Okay, and I have create here a window size, width is 1020 and height is 500. Simple. So if I run the code, as you can see, it's downloading our yolov5 s.pt main module, our default module for object detection. So friends, as you can see, this is what our video. We have here peoples. Okay, so as I mentioned, let me show you here what basically we are going to do. I am going to freeze the frame. We are going to freeze the frame, then I am going to explain the idea. Okay, so this is what our video, and in video, as you can see, we have here persons. Okay, so if I press a button, it will skip frame one by one. Okay, so this is the video. So concept is what? With the help of YOLO5, we are going to, of course, detect our person. Then as I mentioned, we have here tracker. So tracker will basically assign ID for each person, and then we are going to count the person with the help of polygon. We are going to basically draw a polygon on this road, or we can say polylines on this road, and if the person inside our area, inside the polygon, we are going to say the count. Okay, so this is the idea. So let's just start. So first, what we want to do, we want to detect our object, means we want to detect our person. So for that, what we are going to do here, where we resize our frame, here what we want to do, we are going to use here a panda method. Okay, so for that, first I need to mention here result. Results is just a variable. So results is equal to our model, which is our YOLO5 model. Okay, so results is equal to model, and then inside that we need to pass our, what we want to pass, we want to pass our frame. That's it. Then as I mentioned, we are going to, you can simply here you can simply detect objects also. So let's just detect first object. Okay, so let's say we are going to mention here frame. This is just an object detection purpose method. Okay, so let's just first detect our objects. So frame is equal to np dot squeeze, and then results dot render. Okay, so now if I save the code, and what I want to do, I want to mention here 1. Okay, and then if I save the code, if I run the code, and as you can see, we successfully detect our objects. We have here car, we have here person. Okay, so as you can see, it's detecting also backpack. So we successfully detect the objects, but this is what not our motto. We want to track a person. Okay, so we detect the objects, we have done. Now we don't want this method, or let's just comment it. Okay, let's just comment it. Now what we are going to do, as I mentioned, we are going to use here a pandas method. So let's say results dot pandas, and then result dot pandas, and then dot xy, and we need here first point. Okay, so here what we are going to do, we are going to mention this as a. So a is equal to basically our results dot pandas dot xy 0. Okay, so 0 is basically the fox index. Okay, so print a. So if we print a, and what I am going to do, again we are going to freeze the frame, and if I save the code, if I run the code, so friends, we have started our code, and if I minimize the video, and if I make a shell like this way, then here it is. As you can see, we have here a data. This is the index, this is the x mean, this is the y mean, x max, y max, the confidence level of detection, and this is the classes which we detect. Okay, so we have now x mean, y mean, x max, y max, and confidence level, and the classes. Okay, so as I mentioned, now we are going to use all these things. Okay, so simple, I'm going to stop the code, and now we know what we have inside our a. So now we are going to simply use a for loop. Okay, so let's say for. Okay, and here we are going to use a method. So let me show you here which method we are going to use. We are going to use here pandas.dataframe iterRows. This is the method, basically iterate over data frame rows as index and series pairs. So this is the method which we are going to use, iterRows. Simple. So let's say here we are going to first create a for loop. So for index, okay, for index and the rows and row, for index and row in result.panda.xyxy, the first index, first frame, and then we are going to mention our method which I have already shown you, this one, iterRows. Okay, so let's just copy it, copy, open, and we are going to paste here, Ctrl V, and like this. And because it is for loop, so we are going to mention this. And now what we are going to do, for our knowing purpose, we are going to simply print a row. Okay, so just save it and run the code, and let's just skip one frame. So if I minimize the frame, and inside shell, as you can see, we have here data, x mean, y mean, x max, y max, confidence, and classes. So this is the data in, basically we can say, the table format. Okay, so this is the x mean, their coordinate, this is the y mean, their coordinate, this is the x max, their coordinate, y max, coordinates, confidence level, coordinates, and class, and the class id, or not id, basically class number. Okay, so we are going to use x mean, y mean, x max, and y max for drawing a rectangle. So let's just use this x max and y max and all other coordinates. Okay, so now I am going to delete the print row method because we know what we have inside our row. Now simply say x1 is equal to int and from row. Inside this row we have x mean, y mean, all the coordinates. So row, and then we need here what we want, we need here x mean. So x mean, simple. So this is the way we are going to mention y1, x2 and y2. So same way, let's just copy it, paste, and now this time we are going to mention this as a y1 and this will become y min, and then again this will become x2 and the y min we are going to mention x max, then we are going to mention y2, and then this will become y max. Okay, so we have now coordinates, so we are going to cross check our coordinates. For that simple, we are going to draw the rectangle. CV2 dot rectangle, and inside that we are going to first mention our frame, then we are going to mention x1, then y1, okay, y1, and then we have here x2 and y2, okay, and then we are going to mention the color. So let's say 255 0255, let's make it pink, and then the thickness, let's say 2. So if I save the code, and we are going to simply start our frame, means in because I have mentioned 0, that's why the frame is phrase. So I have mentioned 1, it will start our frame in while loop. Okay, so if I save the code, if I run the code, and as you can see friends, we successfully drawing a rectangle on our objects. Right now there is no object names because we not mention object name, we only mention the rectangle coordinates and we draw a rectangle coordinates on objects. Simple. So now what we want to do, we want a classes. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a new variable which is b. You can mention any variable. So b is equal to our row, and then inside that we have name, and this we are going to mention as a string, str. So now what we are going to do, we are going to simply mention put text method. So cv2 dot put text, and we are going to put the text on our frame, then our text, which is basically b is our name, so we need to mention b variable. Then where we want to put text, we want to put text on our x and y of our rectangle, and then we need to mention here font. So cv2 dot font Hershey, and plain. Then 1, and then what we are going to mention, we want to mention a color. So let's make red, and the thickness. Simple. So if I save the code, if I run the code, and as you can see, we successfully put the classes names on their rectangle. Okay, so we have done. Now what we are going to do, now we are going to call our tracker method. We detect object, then we successfully draw the rectangle, also we put the text. So now what we are going to do, we are going to call our tracker. So for that we have already called our tracker file. From tracker import all the things, and then we call here a new variable which is tracker. So this tracker is basically our tracker module. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we are going to update this tracker. So for that we need to create x1, y1, x2, y2 as a list, and we are going to put all these coordinates inside our tracker, and then with the help of the tracker we are going to basically assign the ID for each person. Also we are going to draw the rectangle. So now we don't want cv2.rectangle and put text method here. Okay, so this is for our knowing purpose. We successfully detect our objects, also we successfully draw the rectangle, and we successfully put the classes name on each object. Simple. So we are going to use now tracker method. So we are going to delete this rectangle and put text method, and here we are going to append our coordinates as a list. So let's say list dot append, list dot append, and then we are going to mention our coordinates. So x1, y1, x2 and y2. Simple. And here we are going to mention list as a empty. List is equal to empty list. Okay, now we have all the coordinates inside this list. So here we are going to simply create like this way, again new variable. So let's say boxes IDs is equal to our tracker variable, this one. So boxes IDs is equal to tracker dot update, and inside that we are going to mention our list. Okay, and then what we are going to do now, we are going to simply print, for our knowing purpose we are going to print our boxes and IDs. Simple. So if I save the code, if I run the code, so friends, we have started our frame, and inside shell, as you can see here, we have four coordinates with ID. We have here four coordinates with ID. So now we have here coordinates and ID. So simple, we are going to create here a for loop. Okay, so now we know what we have inside our box ID. So we are going to simply create a for loop. So for box ID, box, you can mention any. Okay, so I'm going to mention box ID, you can mention any variable. So for box ID in our box IDs. Okay, so box IDs, for box ID in our box IDs. So we want here, as I mentioned, we have here our four coordinates for drawing rectangle. Also we have here ID. So X, Y, W and H and ID. Simple. So is equal to our box ID, is equal to our box ID. That's it. Simple method. This is what our box IDs. Inside this box IDs we have four coordinates basically for drawing rectangle, and then we have ID. So we are going to simply call all these things with the help of for loop inside box ID. So this box ID is now our X, Y, W, H and our ID number. Simple. Now we have our X, Y, W, H coordinates. Now we can simply draw a rectangle. CV2 dot rectangle, and inside that we are going to mention where we want to draw a rectangle. We want to draw the rectangle on our frame. Then we need, what we want here, we want here X and Y, then we need here W and H, then we need here color. So color, let's make a pink. Okay, so 255 here, also 255, 0255, and then we need a thickness. Simple. So save the code. If I run the code, so friends, as you can see, now this is the rectangle which we are drawing with the help of our tracker. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we have here ID. So we are going to we are going to put the ID on our rectangle. So same way, cv2 dot put text method, cv2 dot put text method, and then we are going to mention where we want to put the text. This T will become capital. Okay, so cv2 dot put text method, we want to put the text on our frame. Then what we want here, we want our ID. So ID is basically str ID. This is what our ID number, and then we are going to put the ID as a text on our x and y coordinates of our rectangle. So simple, x and y. And then we need here a font. So cv2 dot font Harshe and plain. Okay, this is what our font, and then we are going to mention one, then we are going to mention color. So let's say 00. For ID we are going to mention, let's say green, or let's say blue. 255, then 0, then again 0, and the thickness we are going to mention 2. This we are going to mention 3, let's say. Okay, so if I save the code, if I run the code, and as you can see, there is an ID. There is an ID on a rectangle. As you can see, we have here ID for each object. For each object we have here ID. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we don't want to detect all other things, we only want to detect a person. So simple, what we are going to do, where we have our name, so B is basically our name. So here what we are going to do, we are going to mention like this way. If person in B, then only the list will be append. If person in B, then only list will be append, and it will append all the coordinates. So if I save the code, if I run the code, and as you can see, now we are only detecting person. It's not detecting car and all other things. It's detecting only person, and we have here IDs on their person. As you can see, this person we have here 33 ID. This person we have here 43 ID. This person we have here 52. This one we have here 53. This one we have here 65. It's changing. Okay, 72, 81. Okay, so what we are going to do, when the person is coming in this area, okay, in this area, let me start again, then we will get better idea. So concept is what, when the person is coming this area, let's just watch here, the ID is still same 2626. Here ID is still same for this person. For this person we have same ID 43. For this also we have same ID 53. So we can say if the person is coming in this area, we are going to count the ID. So for that we are going to use a polylines method. Basically we are going to draw here a polylines, and inside the polylines, when our rectangle and ID, we are going to count a frequency of person. Simple. So for that we need to draw here in this area, we need to draw a polylines. So simple, save the code, and just we are going to mention here 0 because we want coordinates, xy coordinates. So we need to freeze the frame, and because we create a mouse function, so we have points. Simple. So let's just start our code, and now we freeze our frame. So inside the shell, as you can see, if I move our cursor on frame, we have a coordinates, xy coordinates. So where we want to draw our polylines, so we can say we want to draw here polylines here. So this is what our area, a region of interest area. So we need to create here a variable. Let's say here after tracker we are going to mention our area 1 is equal to, we are going to mention our polylines coordinates. So like this way, inside this we are going to first mention our first coordinate. So open the frame and the person is going here, here, here. So we are going to basically say if our rectangle, our person rectangle, these coordinates, the WH coordinates, we want to inside our polylines. We want to inside our polylines. So here, what is the coordinates? 377, 315. Inside shell, as you can see, we have here coordinates 377, 315. So let's just mention our first coordinates 377, 315. So here area 1 377, 315. This is what our first coordinates for polylines. Then this one is first, so let's say this one is second. So 429373, 429373. So 429373, 42929, and then 373, 429373. Then we are going to go for our next coordinate. So this one is the first, second, so then this one is third one. So 535339, 535339, 535339, 535339. Then the last one here 500 296, 500 296, 500 and 296. Okay, so if I save the code, now we have our area. Now what we want to do, we want to draw a polyline. So after where we resize our frame, here we are going to say cv2 dot polylines, cv2 dot polylines method, and we are going to draw our polylines on our frame. Okay, so frame, then we are going to mention inside square bracket, we are going to mention np dot array, np dot array, and then inside that we are going to mention our area 1. So area 1 is basically our coordinates for drawing polylines. So area 1, then np dot int32 method, np dot int32. Okay, then what we are going to do, we are going to mention true, and then we are going to mention color for our polylines. So let's make it green. Okay, green color polyline, and then the thickness, let's say 3. Okay, so if I save the code, if I run the code, and as you can see friends, we have here polylines. Here it is, as you can see, a green color polyline. So if I press a key, as you can see right now, our person rectangle WH coordinate inside the polylines. This is the idea. Then we are going to count our person. Okay, so same for next person. So if I go like this way, let's just start our code again, then we will get idea. Okay, so if I here make 1, save the code, you run the code, and just watch. Now as you can see, this person WH coordinates, a rectangle coordinates inside our polylines. This one also, as you can see, this person also inside the polylines. Okay, so this is the idea. Now what we are going to do, we are going to create here a new method. Okay, so we have now our polylines. So here, let me close this. Here we are going to mention cv2 dot point polygon test method. So result is just a variable. Result is equal to our method, which is cv2 dot point point polygon, so P capital, again T capital for test, okay, cv2 dot point polygon test, and then inside that we need to mention this same thing. This is the things which we use, so just copy it from here, just copy it, because this is basically our polyline. So just copy it and just paste here, just paste. Okay, so then what we are going to do, as I mentioned, when our rectangle means when our person rectangle WH coordinates inside the area where we draw polylines, inside the polyline area, so we need to mention here W and H. Okay, so W and H is basically our int. So like this way we are going to mention int our W coordinate of our rectangle, and the same way int our H. That's it. And then we are going to mention false. That's it. So result is equal to cv2 dot point polygon test method. Then this is what our polylines. Okay, we just copy it from here, np dot array, all these things. Okay, just copy it and paste here, and then as I mentioned, we are going to use here our rectangle WH coordinates. So int W, int H, and then false. Okay, so if I save the code, and what we are going to do, we are going to mention here print result for our knowing purpose, result. Also we are going to again freeze our frame, okay, because we want to see the result one by one. So now if I save the code, if I run the code, now see inside the shell. Okay, so right now we have here inside shell we have minus 1.0. So if I skip the frame, so I need to press key from keyboard. So here it is, as you can see. Now this person, okay, I have to move the mouse like this way. Okay, as you can see here, right now the person WH coordinates of rectangle inside our polylines, and we have here 1 coordinates here inside the shell. As you can see, we have here 1. So concept is what? When the person rectangle outside of our polylines area, we have minus 1. Okay, and when the person rectangle WH coordinates inside our polyline area, we have a 1 coordinates. Okay, so again let's see, minus 1, the person rectangle WH coordinates inside our area, and here it is, as you can see, 1, only 1. So we can say when our result is greater than 0, means it's 1. Then we are going to set the ID, or not set the ID, then we are going to basically call the ID. Okay, so stop all these things, and now we are going to create our if condition. So this is what our result. I have shown you what is the result. So now we are going to create our condition. So if result is greater than 0, we are going to simply add the ID. So area1 dot add, and inside that we need to mention our ID, this ID. Okay, here ID, simple. And here first what we want to do, we want to simply mention here area1 is equal to set and empty list. Simple. So area1 is equal to set, and just save it first. Area1 is equal to set, and here where we have result is if greater than 0, we are going to simply pass our ID inside our set. Okay, which we call here. Okay, area is equal to our set. So here if result is greater than 0 area1 dot add, and we are going to add our id. So now what we are going to do, we are going to simply print our area, print area1. So if I save the code, and now this time we are going to start our frame in while loop. So 1, save the code. If I run the code, so friends, as you can see, inside shell we have first person, means first id, we just count first id, then second id, then third, then fourth one, then fifth one. Okay, so we successfully counting the id when our person rectangle WH coordinates inside our polylines. Now what we want to do, this is the IDs. Now we are going to simply say, length of our area, So if I save the code, if I run the code, first person, as you can see, first person which we just count, second person, third person, fourth, fifth one is also there. So as you can see, we are successfully counting the person when the person is inside our area which we mentioned, 6 person we just count. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we are going to simply say like this way. So this one we are going to mention, let's say P is equal to our length of area, and then we are going to mention cv2.putText method. So just copy this method, copy it, and here it is what our area variable, cv2.putText, and this id will become P. Okay, and we have to make in line, and then where we want to put the text, we want to put the text on frame. So where we have the coordinates, let's say 20 for x and let's say 30 for y. Simple. And if I save the code and if I run the code, and here it is, as you can see, we have counter 1, we just count one person, second person, as you can see, second, third one, fourth one, fifth one. So we mention our area, and when our person inside our area, we are counting. Okay, so we successfully detect the person with the help of YOLO5, then we draw the rectangle, then we put the text, then we with the help of our tracker, again we use the x, y and x1 and y1 all rectangle coordinates, and we mention our coordinates inside our tracker. Then again we have the coordinates for rectangle and we have id. Okay, and then we draw the polylines, and then we mention the condition. If our person rectangle WH coordinates inside our area, polyline area, then we are going to count a person. Okay, so I hope you will learn something from this video. We'll meet our next video. Till then, thank you, take care, and bye bye.